Hello everyone, welcome to This Day. It is Friday, May 16th. I'm Michael Taylor, glad to be here. Are you doing the I can't believe it's already Friday, or thank God it finally came? I'm more of like, I'm just happy it's Friday, period. I love it. Weekend's coming. It's going to be a nice weekend too. We'll tell you about that in the weather forecast. Right now though, we want to tell you what's on the show, and we've got a great one for you. Hey, we have Dean White from Caring Senior Service going to be here, and he's going to be talking about all the services they provide with Bree. She's going to be doing that interview. And then we have Cole Young coming up with Sports Corner. We got playoffs for the NBA. We got playoffs for hockey. Lots to talk about, including Colorado Rockies. Something funny happened there. Cole's going to tell us about that as well. So stay tuned. Should be a good segment. Right now, though, we want to talk about some concrete repair that's going on in the community. It's going to be going all the way into June, the week of June 23rd. Avenida Castilla, Calle Azul, and Avenida del Sol, and cul-de-sacs in those areas are all getting some concrete fixes and upgrades. If you live in those areas, if you're going through those areas, there might be a few delays in terms of traffic. There's going to be some parking challenges. If you want to look up more information and when it's going to be scheduling exactly in your neighborhood, go ahead and go to the website, and all the information is there on exact days. They're doing a lot of work. Necessary repairs going on, so it's one of those things that we all have to live with sometimes. All right, let's take a check on our weather, and we got some great temperatures coming up for this week and weekend as well. 67 degrees for today, and then we get a little cooler over the weekend and chance of some morning drizzle, but really it's going to clear to the mostly sunny or partly cloudy skies in the afternoon. And then on Monday and Tuesday, that's when the sun is going to be out, and really for good. I took a peek ahead at the forecast, and let me tell you something, we got great temperatures for the rest of the week next week, so really getting into some warming up of spring-like temperatures for us this time of year, which I'm happy about. All right, let's take a look at our sunrise and our sunset. Thank you very much, Lori Maloa, for sending us this beautiful picture over here, right here in Laguna Woods Village. Sunrise this morning was 5:49. Sunset tonight is going to be 7:45. If you see a good sunset or sunrise, you're out on a walk around some of the trails in the community, vacation, pets, we love pictures of those. Anything will do. We'd love to see them. Email them to us. LagunaWoodsVillageTV@gmail.com. Make sure you include your name, where you took the picture, and we'll use it in our sunrise sunset segment. All right, no meetings to tell you about, and we'll be right back in a minute. Bree will be sitting down with Dean White from Caring Senior Service.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. We have Dean White with us today with Caring Senior Service. It's always a pleasure.
Great to see you, Bree.
Well, I know that you want our community to be happy, healthy.
And at home, that's right. There's a lot of seniors, they're worried about, can I stay in my home?
Yes.
And so often the debate is, can I want to stay in my home, but am I able to, or do I need to go to an assisted living or an independent living, or even a rehab or nursing care? Everybody's happiest at home, we know that.
Right.
So our goal is to increase independence. We want seniors to feel confident and have all the ability that they need to stay into their home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in order to stay in their home, we are going to talk about today something that we don't normally talk about, which is costs and finances.
Sure.
But before we go there, I want you to just sort of recap your services and what does Caring Senior Service actually provide?
Yeah, I really like to think of that. Caregivers come into the home so that the kids can be the kids, and the wife can be the wife, or the husband can be the husband. They don't require them becoming the caregiver.
Right.
And often we find that it's hard when you are trying to manage your own family, and then you're also trying to take care of mom or dad.
Right.
Or if you have a spouse. There is, you might have a spouse that's aging, which might be that you're aging as well. And we have found that it becomes a lot to manage. Sometimes a spouse is really trying to manage the meds of their husband, and sometimes the meds get confusing. Or something happens like one of the spouses falls and the other one can't lift them up. And all these things became panic. What do I do? So we'd like to introduce a caregiver that can come in as small as 4 hours a week. And they can come in, they can do some light house cleaning, they can do laundry. Sometimes it's just grabbing the thing on the top shelf and putting it away, or putting something back, or if eyesight's diminishing, maybe just sorting out the clothes to do the laundry. But there's a lot of help that we can do. We can help in the bathroom. We can help meal prep, as well as to make sure that mom or dad are getting the right meals that they need to have. We can also take them to the doctors, take them to the pharmacy. We can take them to their exercise class. Sometimes people that have Parkinson's or dementia are going to boxing. And boxing is a great way. As soon as the gloves go on, it's for seniors, but the Parkinson's goes away. It's really, truly amazing. But we get to help extend their life and increase their activities. And then we also give a big peace of mind to the family of what's happening. Because the caregiver is going to take notes of what they did that day and then send them to the family and say that these are the activities that we do with mom or dad. So I believe that more than anything, we give a peace of mind. And then secondly, we're going to increase that person's life, just the joy of their life, and take away some of the frustrations and the difficulties that they might be having.
So you're really giving quality of life back.
That's right. That's right.
And is there a minimum set of hours per week that somebody's obligated to sign up?
Yeah, great question, because that's one of the top questions that somebody calls is, what's your minimum? Some companies have a minimum of 8 hours a day. My minimum I don't have a minimum, but I'm priced most competitively at 4 hours or more. I pay charge a little bit more for 2 and 3 hour shift because I have to pay the caregiver for a shorter shift. And at 1 hour, there's other companies that are better than mine. And I would just simply give their name out to when they call, when they just need a 1 hour. But the big one is, how many hours is the minimum per week? Right. And we don't have a minimum. Some of our clients are simply 4 hours a week. Other companies, when you call, you'll find out that they have a 40-hour minimum or a 20-hour minimum. But that's a question that we should all be asking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And your range is between $30 and $45 an hour.
Yeah, so the range of most caregiving is going to be between 30 and 45. Sometimes you can go to Facebook and find a caregiver that you can hire directly for $25 an hour. And now they're not going to come with insurance.
I was going to say, Dean, that sounds so scary.
Yeah,
I don't even know that I'd put that out there.
Some people still do. They just want to know what's out there. And so some people take that chance. They may not come with insurance and background checked. Caregiving is going to be, all our caregivers are background checked. All our caregivers, in fact, they were checked with the DMV to make sure they don't have a DUI. So they're checked with adult protective services, even child protective services. We've checked for criminal, just to make sure that there's nothing on their record. And then they're also approved through our certification as well. And then we're also licensed and bonded. And so we charge as a flat rate, but a lot of companies change based upon the need that is required.
And I just really appreciate and admire you for offering so many different types of ways that a caregiver can help somebody.
Yeah.
It seems like it's almost like a la carte. Like I'll take a meal prep for today. I'll have you read my mail, and then I'd love to play a game. So the ability for the client to be able to tell the caregiver what they need versus the other way around.
100%, and it really has to depend on the person. So for Donna's kids are in Oregon and San Clemente. And Donna, her phone system went out, and we went over there, realized that it was connected to her circuit breaker, fixed her circuit breaker, turned back on her phones, and everything was fine.
Wow.
Now, that's not a regular caregiving thing, but we're going to take care of her and anything that goes on in her life. It's also, her refrigerator went out, we reported back to the family. We do grocery shopping for her every week, twice a week. We wash her clothes every single morning. Somebody gets there at 9 a.m., gives her meds, fixes her breakfast, then spends time cleaning the house, makes her a lunch, and then prepares a dinner and leaves it in the refrigerator for her.
Okay.
And so there's a lot that we can do. We've also taken Donna to get her nails done and hair done. Sumiko, she gets her nails done every other week, and so we take her, and there's a lot that we can do to come alongside, and a lot of times the caregivers see the client sees the caregiver as part of their family now.
Of course. Yeah. You really create that bond.
Correct.
Right?
And we become an extra arm to the kids, because the kids can't always get to mom.
Right.
Or can't always get to dad.
Especially if they're in Oregon.
Especially they're in Oregon.
Or another state, or, raising their own family and have their own very, very busy to-do lists.
You're exactly right. So many people, cost of living is such in California that they want to move to a different state. But they go, what we're going to do with mom or dad?
Right.
They're already here in Laguna Woods. They love Laguna Woods. It has been phenomenal. Where are we going to find another community like this?
Right.
And they're not. And so what do we do if we move to Idaho or Nevada or Texas? You need to have a trusted caregiving company, the agency that comes alongside. So case in point too, Bree, if we brought a caregiver in and the mom or dad didn't necessarily like them, we just simply switch them out. It's up to us to make that happen.
Absolutely. So let's talk about ways to extend money in long-term care.
Yes. How do I pay for all of this?
Because what you're describing is a little more than just a couple of hours a day, and as we've discussed, the client gets to choose how many options they want, how much help they need.
Sure.
So it can easily grow to an 8-hour a day companionship.
It could easily be $300 a day easy.
Easy.
And so you times that by a month, it could be quite expensive. And so some things to look at is a lot of people don't know that their life insurance, one of them, it can be sold if they needed to. The second one, if their life insurance might have a long-term care rider, or even better, if they have long-term care as just a policy in itself, it works the best. Now, I personally have a long-term care policy that I've been paying on for a number of years. I pay about $500 a month. And that's going to provide me $6,000 a month, and it goes on forever. It doesn't just stop after 2 years. And so it has a cost of benefits rider that continues even beyond the total benefit of the long-term care benefit.
And is that a program that clients can get through your service, or is it an outside service?
Yeah, they
How
just
does
would
that
call me, and I'd have them connect to the agent. There's only a couple companies that I would recommend for long-term care. I deal with all of them, and I'm happy to. There's some really phenomenal companies. But most long-term care, you use it or lose it like car insurance. There is a couple that are tied to the way that they're created, is that if you use it, great, fantastic. If you quit after a certain amount of time, you can get a portion of your money back. Or if you die prematurely, then that money turns into life insurance and goes to your heirs. And so you get a value out of it. And there's only 2 companies that offer that kind of policy. I don't sell it myself. I just would connect you to the right company and let you, talk with them.
Explore the options, see if it's a good fit.
So long-term care is a big one. The other thing is they can, do a reverse mortgage on their property. Again, there's probably only a couple companies that I'd recommend for reverse mortgage. I'd have them talk to me, and then I'd have them connect to Steve. Steve talked to a family this past week, and they said, we're looking at reverse mortgage, and he said, you know what, with everything I looked at, it's not a right fit for you. And the lady called me, she goes, Dean, I talked to 4 companies. Yours guy was the only one that was just really honest and truthful. And I really value that, because he made a lot of sense why it's not a good fit at that moment. And so he could have pushed the sale, he didn't. It's the integrity that is more important. And that's the kind of people that I like.
I was going to say, it's hard to find. So going through somebody such as yourself on that referral basis really brings more peace of mind.
100%. And, other things that they have is if you are a vet, or if you are married to a vet, there is VA benefits. And we have a number of people in Laguna Woods that are having VA benefits. And there's two different ways. The doctor can prescribe home health aid for you to have a caregiver, or we can have the VA contact you and organize it. It's a little bit easier when the VA can contact you versus going through the front door, but more than happy to help. We've had somebody just on this TV station alone hear this same thing, and I got a phone call, and today she has VA benefits because of it.
Yes, I remember that conversation that we had, one of our very first interviews together.
That's right,
and
Bree.
I was surprised to even learn that that was available. And then my first thought was, that sounds so complicated. Who could ever navigate that system? And then you come along and help them, kind of hold their hand, walk them through, and then now they've got benefits.
Just like Caring the Senior Service, there are 310 different organizations like mine in this area. There's only about a dozen that are approved with the VA, and we're one of them. So we had to go through some different steps and qualifications to make that happen. And so please have them call me. I would love to help them see if they have any VA benefits or any questions regarding, home health care. And again, we want everybody to be healthy, happy, and at home.
At home. Okay. Thank you, Dean. Appreciate you joining us today.
You bet. Thanks, Bree.
You're watching This Day on Village TV. We'll be back after these messages.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats.
Something is happening tonight at the Barclay. The Barclay in Irvine. Live entertainment, you don't want to miss it. Tonight at the Barclay.
Happy Friday and welcome to this week's episode of Sports Corner. I'm Cole Young, and as always, we have a lot to cover, so I'll jump right in. On top of the playoffs, a ton is happening in the NBA. Earlier this week, following Milwaukee Bucks' third consecutive postseason exit in the first round, two-time NBA MVP and NBA champion Giannis Antetokounmpo has not made any firm decisions regarding his future with the Bucks. On top of that, for the first time in his career, he's rumored to be exploring best fits outside of Milwaukee. Antetokounmpo is coming off of one of his best seasons of his career, averaging 30.4 points, 11.9 rebounds, and 6.5 assists, and finishing in the top 3 of MVP voting. It's his second consecutive season averaging 30, 10, and 5 on 60% shooting or more. No other player in NBA history has done it even once. Somehow, he was even better this postseason, raising his game to average 33 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists in the series against the Indiana Pacers, yet Milwaukee still lost in 5 games to Indiana. Since 2018-2019, Milwaukee has a .663 win percentage, the best in the NBA during that span. Still, the Bucks have won just one playoff series since the franchise's NBA championship in 2021. It's not certain that the superstar will leave the Bucks, but if he does, look for him to explore teams that have the ability to win a title ASAP. Another one of the biggest names in basketball made a major announcement last week. It was announced that legendary head coach Greg Popovich will no longer be the head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, but will transition to the president of basketball operations. Due to health concerns, Popovich has not coached since October of last year. He's been the head coach of the Spurs since 1996. Popovich has 1,422 regular season wins, the most in league history, and 5 NBA championships. That mark is tied for third all-time behind Phil Jackson with 11 and Red Auerbach with 9. He was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2023. It's hard to imagine the NBA without Popovich coaching on the floor, but it's good to know he'll still be heavily involved in the game. Earlier this week, we also had the NBA draft. The Dallas Mavericks earned the #1 overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft lottery on Monday night in Chicago. As a surprise to absolutely no one, the Mavericks selected Cooper Flagg out of Duke, first overall. Flagg is the consensus #1 overall prospect in this year's draft class. The 18-year-old led Duke to the Final Four in the NCAA tournament earlier this year, though they were knocked out by Houston. Flagg averaged 19.2 points and 7.5 rebounds per game with the Blue Devils while earning Player of the Year honors. After a tough year for the Mavericks due to the earth-shattering Luka Doncic trade, this is a step in the right direction for their organization. Okay, now on to the playoffs. Starting in the West, it's been a back-and-forth battle between the top-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder and the #4 seed Denver Nuggets. After getting beat by 43 points in Game 2, Denver bounced back with a win at home in Game 3. The Thunder then got a win in Game 4, and even the series at 2-2 heading into Game 5 earlier this week. Then, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 31 points, and the Thunder beat the Nuggets 112-105 on Tuesday night to go up 3-2 in their Western Conference semifinal series. Oklahoma City overcame a 44-point, 15-rebound night from Denver's Nikola Jokic. The Nuggets picked up a win at home last night, evening the series at 3-3 and forcing a Game 7. That series-deciding game will be back in Oklahoma City on Sunday, so don't miss out on that crucial game. Sticking in the West, things looked pretty bleak for the Golden State Warriors. I mentioned it last week, but Steph Curry went out early in Game 1 in the series versus the Minnesota Timberwolves, but the Warriors managed to hold on for a Game 1 win. Curry didn't return for Games 2, 3, 4, or 5, and Minnesota was able to capitalize in his absence, winning all of those games. Through the series, the dominant Anthony Edwards has led the way for the T-Wolves, averaging 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. In Game 5, Edwards dropped 22 points and 12 assists to send the Timberwolves to the Western Conference Finals for the second straight year with a 121-110 victory over the Warriors on Wednesday. The Warriors, again without Steph Curry, have officially been eliminated from the playoffs. Over in the East, one word can sum up both series: shocking. The reigning champion Boston Celtics quickly fell to 2-0 to the New York Knicks. Boston righted the ship in Game 3, pulling out a 22-point victory behind Jason Tatum's 22-point game, cutting the series to 2-1. It seemed like the Celtics might have regained their stride and could go on a long winning streak to close out the series. That was not the case. The Knicks stole another win in Game 4, taking a daunting 3-1 series lead after Jalen Brunson's impressive 39-point and 12-assist performance. Unfortunately for Boston, superstar forward Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a ruptured right Achilles tendon after suffering the injury late in the fourth quarter of Monday's Game 4 loss. So, if Boston wants to pull off the series comeback, they'll have to do it without their leading scorer. Stepping up in the absence of Tatum, Derek White had 34 points, including 7 3-pointers, to lead the Celtics to a 127-102 Game 5 win over the Knicks on Wednesday night that kept them alive in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Since the Celtics narrowly avoided elimination, Game 6 will be tonight at 5 p.m., and if they manage to win a second straight tonight, Game 7 will be on Monday, also at 5 p.m. Much the same that was said about the Celtics can be said for the Cleveland Cavaliers. After 2 early heartbreaking losses, the Cavs quickly fell to 2-0 to the Indiana Pacers. They managed to pick up a win on the road in Game 3, but fell short in Game 4, and heading into Tuesday night, the Pacers were sitting with a 3-1 series lead over the top-ranked Cavs. Donovan Mitchell had been averaging a whopping 34 points per game in this series for Cleveland, but injuries to other starters have hindered their success. In Tuesday night's Game 5, Tyrese Halliburton scored 31 points and Pascal Siakam added 21 as the Pacers reached the conference finals in consecutive years for the first time since 2013 after defeating the Cavaliers 114-105. The Pacers now move on to play the winner of the Knicks and Celtics series in the Eastern Conference Finals. The NBA playoffs are quickly coming to a close. Before we know it, the NBA Finals will be here, so don't miss out on any of the playoff action this weekend and next week. That same sentiment goes for the NHL's Stanley Cup playoffs. In the Western Conference, Mikko Rantanen was added again for the Dallas Stars, scoring a goal and 2 assists, helping the Stars defeat the Winnipeg Jets 5-2 in Game 3 and take a 2-1 series lead. In Game 4, someone on the Stars scored another hat trick, but this time it wasn't Rantanen. This time, Michael Granlund scored a hat trick for the Stars, who pushed the Jets to the brink with a 3-1 win to bring the series to 3-1. Game 5 was last night, and the Jets were able to secure a win at home and bring the series to 3-2. Game 6 of this series will be tomorrow, and, if needed, Game 7 will be on Monday. Sticking in the West, obviously, the Edmonton Oilers have been on fire. In Game 4 of their series with the Vegas Golden Knights, Adam Henrique scored twice in the first period, and Stuart Skinner made 23 saves for the Oilers in a 3-0 win, taking a 3-1 series lead. In the series closeout Game 5 on Wednesday night, Kasperi Kapanen scored at 7:19 of overtime to break the long-standing 0-0 tie, and the Edmonton Oilers eliminated the Vegas Golden Knights with a 1-0 win. Edmonton now advances to the conference final for a second straight season, the first time in 33 years they've reached consecutive conference finals. On top of that, this is the 12th time in franchise history the Oilers have made it to the conference finals, tying the Chicago Blackhawks for the most since 1979. In the East, the matchup of the reigning champion Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs has been closely contested so far. Games 1 through 3 were decided by just 1 goal, and Game 4, the final score was just 2-0. Entering into Game 5 on Wednesday, this series was all tied up 2-2. The The Panthers now hold on to a 3-2 series lead after a dominant 6-1 win in Game 5. Toronto goaltender Joseph Woll allowed 5 goals on just 25 shots before being pulled for the Maple Leafs. Kind of a fun fact, all 6 goals were scored by different people on the Panthers. Game 6 of this series will be today, with Game 7 on Sunday if needed. Lastly, despite Alexander Ovechkin's record-breaking season, the Washington Capitals entered last night down 3-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes. The Hurricanes were able to close out the series and eliminate the Capitals, winning the series 4-1 and advancing to the conference finals. They will face the winner of the Maple Leafs-Panthers series. Later next week, the conference finals will begin, so don't miss out on any of the action for the remainder of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I haven't mentioned the MLB in a while, but things are going pretty great for 2 of the 3 Southern California teams. The Dodgers are currently the best team in the league, while the Padres aren't too far behind and are hanging on in the top 5. The Angels, well, are the Angels and hanging around the bottom 10 teams in the league as per usual. However, it could be a lot worse. The Colorado Rockies are having a historic, potentially record-breaking bad season. The Rockies fired longtime manager Bud Black this weekend. Black had managed the Rockies since the start of the 2017 season. The move comes after a disastrous 6-33 start to the season for the Rockies, which was tied for the worst 39-game start in MLB history. This week's 3 straight losses to the Texas Rangers put the Rockies at just 7-36 for the year and on pace for a record 134 losses for the season. Over the first 43 games of the season, the Rockies have been outscored by 137 runs. Currently, they're on pace for a run differential of 557. For reference, the current record for worst differential is 349. Last Saturday, the Rockies suffered a franchise-worst 21-0 loss to the Padres. It's going to be interesting to see what changes the Rockies make moving forward, if possible, and how they can at least salvage some of the season, because right now, they're at an all-time low. They will play the Arizona Diamondbacks tonight at 6:40 p.m. To close the show, much like last week, a major NFL news story dominated headlines this week. New Orleans Saints quarterback Derek Carr has officially announced his retirement. This move comes a few weeks after the Saints announced Carr could potentially miss the 2025 season with a shoulder injury. Carr spent the first 9 years of his career with the Raiders before signing a 4-year deal with the Saints before the 2023 season. The 34-year-old QB started 169 games for the 2 teams over his career and finished with a 77-92 record, throwing for over 41,000 yards and 257 touchdowns, including his best season in 2016, which he led the Raiders to the playoffs. NFL fans, players, and sports fans around the country wish Carr all the best in his retirement. With all of that said, thank you for joining me on another Friday episode of Sports Corner. Enjoy all the golf, basketball, hockey, baseball, and more this weekend, and come right back next week for more news, updates, and highlights. I'm Cole Young. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time.
And welcome back. Let's talk about our Friday and Saturday movie. We got some good ones for you. On Friday, we have It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World. Great comedy. It's going to be at 2 p.m. with the subtitles and 6 p.m. without the subtitles. Then on Saturday, a great documentary. It's Bogart. A Life Comes in Flashes. It's going to be at 2 p.m. with the subtitles and 6 p.m. without the subtitles. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this edition of This Day. On tomorrow's show, we're going to be welcoming in Solace Home Care and Old Pros. I'm Michael Taylor. For all of us here at Village Television, we hope you make this day a great one.